before Bruce gives the invocation this evening, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for Tyler and his family. So if you'd join me for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Bruce?
Let us pray. Our God, our Father in heaven, we thank you for this wonderful day. We thank you for watching out for each and every one of us. We thank you for the blessings you have given to all of us. We pray tonight that you'll be with us and guide us as we go about the business of the city. We pray that you will be with Officer Powell, be with them and comfort them in the loss of his son. We continue to pray for those serving the armed forces abroad, serving in harm's way. Be with them, guard them, protect them. These things we pray in Christ's name, and amen.
Amen. Councilman Conley.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening we've got a couple special things to do. One of the things I'd like to do is recognize the Golden Horseshoe winners from Jackson Middle School. This year we had 3 winners of the award, and we're going to recognize them on June the 1st at Jackson in the award ceremony. So the names of the 3 students that won the Golden Horseshoe were Kelsey Golden, Alec Holbert, and Anna Martin. And I think Kathy Williams, who's their advisor, deserves special recognition because as a coach for these kids, it's a tireless job. They work so hard to learn all the facts about West Virginia. And the Golden Horseshoe Award is one of those things that only a handful of kids in the entire state get it every year. And there have been several years that Vienna has had many winners, and in some years we've had none. And so to come back this year with 3 is a real tribute to Mrs. Williams and her dedication. So I rank the Golden Horseshoe contest with the Eagle Scout. I mean, you really have to work hard to get those, and when you get that on your resume, everyone knows what an award it is. So we're going to recognize them at the Jackson Awards ceremony. But with us this evening we have another winner. So Linda, if you and Adam would come up.
Hello.
No.
Oh. Nice. Yeah, sorry. Good evening. We would like to recognize Chief Pfeiffer and Officer Adam Jones, and they came to me with a wonderful idea to have a First Responders Day. So we are really excited to have our first annual First Responders Day, and we've got great stuff for the kids and the teenagers, and we're really excited about it. It is August the 25th. The kids will be back to school, and so we decided to have a little contest. Officer Jones did a great job rounding up all the kids, and they all submitted like a really, really neat drawing to put on t-shirts and stuff so that we can have a really great day for them. And you can't believe the great vendors and all the great things. I'll let Officer Jones tell you a little bit about it, and then we would like to present Miss Annie Mildren tonight because she is the winner of the beautiful logo for our First Responders Bash this year.
So, this is on, sorry. Do I really need this thing?
Yes.
So, Chief Pfeiffer and I were talking, and we want to have an activity for the kids. All too often, the kids don't know about different activities in this area. So, we have approached different agencies, Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, Boy Scouts, all kinds of different vendors that we're going to have come in and speak to the children about different activities there is in this region for them to get involved with, volunteer, you know, the Humane Society. So what we want to do is have a fun day where they can learn about different things, but we're also going to reward them for coming out and, you know, going and seeing what's available to them. And we're going to give away door prizes and have free food and different activities, foam, music, obstacle courses. We're going to do tons of stuff for the kids. Like Linda said, it's August 25th. We're going to try to give away tons of backpacks too with school supplies for the kids. And it's not open just to Vienna, it's open to all Wood County. We're hoping we have a great turnout. Like she said, this is the first annual one, and we have to do it every year. With that being said, I took it to the art teacher at Jackson, and I was like, hey, we need a t-shirt. Let's do a contest for design. And she put it out to her art students, and we looked through, 40, 50 some designs. At the end of the day, 7th grader by name of Annie Mildren was our winner. So with that, I'd like to have Annie come up and collect her award.
The City of Vienna would like to present you with the congratulations certificate here, and it reads, the City of Vienna, West Virginia presents this certificate to Annie Mildren in appreciation for your creative logo artwork for the City of Vienna's First Responder Bash, August 25th, 2018. Congratulations, Sure. Here, Annie, would you come up? Come up here and just stand in between me and Officer Jennings. That'd be great.
Linda, you want to just do it?
Come on, Linda. Here you go. I'll get a picture of you.
One more time.
Chad, for having a great daughter. Oh, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So we have one last award tonight that I'd like to present. You know, it's funny, when you grow up in Vienna, you kind of take things for granted. And I wasn't aware until Chief Pfeiffer brought it to my attention how long someone had been serving the city of Vienna. And so I thought what we would do this evening is we would honor someone that has given 35 years of her life in service to the kids in Vienna. And so tonight I'd like to ask Janet Brookover to please come up here.
Thank you.
Please stand right here. I'll give this to you so Jeff can take your picture and then we'll read it. For you that have never met Mrs. Brookover, she has been the crossing guard at 41st and Grand Central for 35 years. I grew up on 41st and 3rd Avenue. I've been there since 1960. I've crossed that road many times, but so did my kids, okay? And so every morning, evening, she's there every day. And Chief, I asked for some numbers, and you know what? Well, we couldn't find the time when she missed. Okay?
She is consistently there, in good weather, bad weather, umbrellas. You know, it's a testament to how much you care about our kids.
Oh, I love the kids.
I know you do. I know you do. It's a sign of consistency. Not only are you going to help the kids get across safe, but it's a consistent person that they see every day, and you surely know the neighborhood, I'll tell you. So thank you for the 35 years.
And she may not look like she's very large standing next to Mike. I can tell you right now, when she gets that flag out, everybody stops. No problem with that. So anyway, it's a certificate of appreciation to Janet Brookover. Thank you for 35 years of outstanding dedication and commitment as a crossing guard for the city. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll now move on to public forum. Henry Sossin, you signed up to speak, sir.
Testing. Okay, it's working. Henry Sasson, 1307 Greenmont Hills Drive. One of the things I just want to talk about today is over the last several weeks, there's been communications in the newspaper and on the media about Chemours and the water quality. Is there a way for us as a city of Vienna to have invite Chemours spokesperson from the company to come and talk to us? That way the people here in the community can ask questions and get answers as opposed to hearing through a newspaper or hearing from city council.
We can certainly ask them.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. I'd like to call to order this regular session of Vienna City Council for May the 24th, 2018. Because Mr. Leach is not here in person this evening. Mr. Leach, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, so let the record reflect that Mr. Leach is with us by conference call this evening, and all other council members are here. Our city attorney is also absent. Having a quorum, we will proceed. The minutes from the special council meeting held on May 15th, 2018 have been printed, posted, and circulated. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If there are no objections, then the minutes will stand approved as posted. The report of the treasurer is in your packet this evening. Because Mr. Leach is not here this evening, I will do it for him. Looking at our reconciliation of funds, you'll see that the city is solvent and all our bills are paid. Under unfinished business this evening, we have an ordinance on second reading. It's an ordinance authorizing the appointment of the City of Vienna Forester to the Park Board. Be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that the Vienna Parks and Recreation Board ordinance shall read as follows. It is the intent of this ordinance to add the City Forester to the board. Currently, our City Forester is Mr. Jack Mathers. Jack has been the City Forester for 20 years. Okay? But Mr. Mathers is an expert in trees, and because of the McDonough wildlife which we maintain and all of the other things that he does to the Tree and Beautification Committee and the trees in our city, I think that Jack will be a great asset to the park board, and I know that Mr. Black, who's our new parks director, has expressed an interest in having Jack as our forester be on that. So this is an ordinance on second reading authorizing the appointment of the city forester to the Vienna Park Board. I'll entertain a motion for such approval.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the ordinance to amend the composition of the Vienna Board of Parks and Recreation on second reading. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Yes, Jim, I'm sorry.
Yes, I vote in favor.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. The first item this evening under new business is the bid approval for the police department for the bulletproof vests. Amy?
The bids for the bulletproof vests were opened on May the 15th at 9 a.m. with the following results. Vance Outdoors Incorporated, $16,144. After careful review of the bids, the recommendation for council approval from the Budget and Finance Committee for bulletproof vests is Vance Outdoors Incorporated, $16,144. This is for the purchase of 20 bulletproof vests. The project was budgeted in next year's 2018-2019 budget. The police department has applied for a grant, but the full amount was budgeted. The police department has applied for a grant to pay for 50% of this, though, so we may get some money back on that. It takes 3 to 4 months to get them. The officers need fitted for the vests, and so we're coming forward at this time so that they can get the process started.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the bid for the bulletproof vests in the amount of $16,144. Am I correct on the dollar amount? Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the bid for the bulletproof vest. Chief, would you talk about the new technology and the material on these new vests? As I understand it's much lighter and much more comfortable.
Yes, as technology gets newer, the vests get lighter and they get thinner. So for the officer, that means less weight on their person, better movement in the vest. These vests, I'd already actually seen these, and they are lighter, they are more flexible, and I think it will be an upgrade for the officers. So
Okay.
anytime you can be comfortable with a bulletproof vest on, that's a bonus. So.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any further discussion on the bulletproof vests?
What was the name of those again? The brand?
Safari Land.
Safari Land?
Yes.
Anything else? All right, then I'll call for the question. All those in favor of accepting the low bid for the bulletproof vest, please signify by raising your right hand. Mr. Leach, verbally?
I vote in favor.
Thank you, sir. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That concludes our agenda for this evening. Council comments?
Yes, sir, Mayor. Could you tell us what the status is of the utility board budget?
It's being presented next Wednesday.
Okay, I'm asking because in the past we've typically got that here at council at the last minute, and it's always been pretty much just a formality. I'd like to get a hard copy of those to all of us as soon as possible. We've just gone through, as everybody knows, a huge rate increase in the water and sewer, and quite frankly, there is no more formalities for this councilman. I'm going to have a lot of questions. I'm going to look at this more like an audit than a review. I'm going to want to know, what have we done to cut costs? What have we done to reduce our spending? What have we done to increase our efficiencies? And I'd like to see documentation of these things, not just verbal answers. You know, if there's, and there is several in the old budget from last year, miscellaneous expenses. I need to know what those miscellaneous expenses are. Going to need to spend hours, if not days, looking at this. I'm going to meet, hopefully, with Mr. Metz, if that's possible. Like to go over purchase orders, like to look at requisitions. I'd like to look at staff levels going into the fiscal year, going out of the fiscal year. Basically, look at this line item by line item. So the sooner we can get this, the better. You know, it's not going to be acceptable, in my opinion, to have that presented to us at the end of June, going into the new fiscal year for a formality vote. I think we all need to take a very serious look at this and scrutinize it, again, more like an audit than a review. We've got issues there, and those need to be looked at very seriously.
As I said, Mr. Conley, the utility board will receive it. We're going to have 2 meetings on that. Once the utility board approves it, then it will be presented to council.
Okay, very good.
Okay. You realize, of course, that the finance director will be involved.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. A couple of other things. Do we have any status yet on the risk assessment from Tom Rebar to Derek Hancock?
We do not.
Okay. Do we have any idea of when that might happen?
We do not.
Okay. With that being said, there's been a lot of talk recently, I won't just say recently, in the past months about Triad. And we've all talked about, and I've looked at the Triad report inside out, upside down. What was the specific reason that those folks was let go and the other, Mr. Rebar, was brought on board?
The time schedule that the voluntary remediation plan stipulates that we would meet certain deadlines. Triad was obligated to several projects at the same time, and because of that, they could not meet the deadlines that the state put on us. And so we went with a different company that could meet the deadlines.
Okay.
Because once you start the process, if you don't meet the deadlines, then you have to start all over again. And so
Okay.
that is the reason why we do not use Triad anymore.
Was there any point in time that Triad actually requested or suggested additional testing on the lower facility that Mr. Rebar disagreed with?
I have no idea.
Roger, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Could you speak into your mic a little more closely?
Absolutely. The question I just asked was, and pertaining to Triad, was there a point in time that Triad actually suggested additional testing on the lower site that Mr. Rebar disagreed with?
No.
So no request or no suggestion of further testing took place with Triad?
No, and I mean, obviously, have an opportunity to research the question is one issue, but to my knowledge, number one, the answer is no, and number two, it's not the licensed remediation specialist that determines. What happens is when we submit the required reporting, then the DEP comes back to us and either accepts the reporting or requires additional testing. So any testing is basically ordered by the DEP. We submit, for example, the risk assessment or the site characterization plan or whatever it might be, and then they approve the plan, and then once we get the reports back, they tell us whether they require any additional testing. So that's determined by the DEP, not by the licensed remediation specialist.
Was there a point in time that we requested documentation from Triad, and when I say we, someone in the city or Mr. Rebar representing the city, that requested documentation and information from Triad, and oh, by the way, don't send it with your letterheads or logos?
I didn't quite hear you, Roger.
Was there a point in time when this transition was taking place that someone within the city or someone like Tom Rebar representing the city requested documentation and information that Triad had and said, oh, by the way, send that information without your letterheads or your logos?
Jim, I'm not aware of that, but
I'm not either. I'm not even sure what you're talking about. But to my knowledge, everything, all of the reports that have been generated are or will end up in the repository at the library. So that entire file, including all the reporting, all the paperwork, et cetera, should be, as a part of that repository.
Thank you. Mayor, a while back you made the statement that if you needed to, you would get Triad in here to explain all of these issues. Is that something you're still willing to do?
I don't know where you're going with this, Roger, but I have no issues with Triad whatsoever. They were an outstanding company to deal with. It was the time issue, so I don't see where you're going or what the point of that would be. You keep bringing up this issue of additional testing, but we have done everything that was required, and there is absolutely no reason to spend another nickel doing any further testing on the riverfront side. That data has been done. It's finished. Okay?
So to the best of your knowledge, there was never a comment made to Triad that we do not need to do future testing, and our reason for not doing the future testing is because of cost?
No, sir. The cost was not an issue. It's the fact that it's redundant.
Okay.
Every bit of sampling that has been done down there gives a good picture of what the actual makeup of that is. And Triad would have done whatever we requested them to do based on the voluntary remediation plan that we were operating with the state. So we complied with everything that the state asked us to do. There were no shortcuts taken.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make sure that the offer still stood, that if we needed to get Triad in here to talk, that that's something we could still do.
I'm not willing to pay the cost to have Triad come up here, okay? I believe that Mr. Rebar can answer any question that there would be.
But you're the one that said you was willing to do that, sir.
Really, I don't recall saying
Yeah,
that,
you
Roger, but
absolutely did.
it doesn't matter. You know, we'll discuss that. I'll discuss it with Mr. Leach and Mr. Rebar, but
Okay. Was part of the Brownfield grant, switching gears just a little bit, that the citizens be given a quarterly report until the contract was completed?
Mrs. Roberts fills that out.
Okay, so it's not a public meeting that they're supposed to come here and give us as
No, it's
the
a report.
citizens? It's a report, not a, okay,
Yes.
that's fine.
And we are current on that. We've met every one of those.
No, there was some understanding that they were supposed to, whether it be Mr. Hancock or Mr. Rebar, that there should have been a quarterly presentation to the public as part of the Brownfield grant. So if that's not the case, I accept that at face value. But I was just told that that was the case, and there again, a question only. The last thing I have, I am going to be hosting a town hall meeting on June the 11th from 7 until 8:30 at the community building. Open forum as we've done in the past. Different people that's interested in asking questions, making comments would be certainly appreciated. And I did notice, Mayor, that hadn't been put on the calendar yet. I don't know if they forgot about it or what, but it's not on the community building calendar as far as the reserve.
I don't take care of that, Roger.
I know Lisa does, but I'm just saying it's not on there yet. It's probably been about it's been several days since we talked about it. I just want to make sure it was not given to someone else.
You made the reservation by telephone with Mrs. Dibby, but
I absolutely did.
yes, I don't take care of that.
Okay,
sir.
that's fine. I'm just saying it's not on there yet. I just want to make sure it does.
Okay.
Given to someone else because we've already put the date out. That's all I have for tonight.
Council comments? Bruce?
Mr. Black is here today, and I'd like to comment, this past week, the West Virginia Secondary Schools Activity Commission held their girls softball tournament at Jackson Fields. Everything was going fine Tuesday evening when the girls came together. They fixed pizza and had them all there, and you saw the newspaper article where they were dancing and all having a good time. Well, after they left, we received 2 inches of rain in a very short period of time, and those fields were very much flooded. And Steve and the Public Works, Eddie Atkinson, they worked tirelessly to try to get our fields back in shape. Third field, they got ready right away. The second field was not playable until 4 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. They were supposed to be that morning. The first field was playable by about 2-hour delay, but I don't know how many thousands of gallons of water they took off those fields down there, but they have to be commended for their hard work. I think everyone that was down there went to Walmart to get boots because it was a muddy mess down there. Our workers were all covered with mud and everything, and I think they all need someone to say they did a good job. The tournaments ended up today on time. Hurricane won the AAA. They played John Marshall. They won that 8-0, and I want to say this is either the 3rd or 4th year they've won the tournament. I'm not exactly sure.
5th out of 6.
5th or 6th?
No,
Okay.
5th out of 6.
They were fantastic all the way through. The AA, Herbert Hoover won over Chapmanville. They won 11-1, and Wheeling Central won the A of 12 over Moorfield 0, and everything went really smooth over there. The parking is usually very congested, and everyone did a really good job. So I want to say thank you, Steve, and thank your workers for us. You did a fantastic job. Welcome to the parks.
Did they have a head count, Steve?
No, but when I talked to Kelly today, she said this was one of the most attended tournaments that they've had in some time.
I know there wasn't a parking space available anywhere over the hill. I mean, it was jam-packed.
We generally have guys trying to park them, but we need them all for the field. The guys got a little upset, what are we gonna do? And my philosophy was, in all seriousness, every person there has been to a mall or to Walmart. They'll figure it out. And the parking was great. And Bruce, there was almost 5,500 gallons of water that we took off fields 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice teamwork, Steve. So.
Public Works.
I have an announcement to make. On May the 29th at 3:45 in the afternoon, Jackson Middle School is going to do a brick dedication down at the Gold Star Memorial. They're dedicating bricks for educators, for Mr. Jeffrey Board, Mr. William Gray, Mr. Stephen Hamrick, Mr. Walter Mace, and Mrs. Margot Bollinger Thompson. So they're going to bring the choir down, and there will be a ceremony down there at the Gold Star. So there'll be a nice presentation by our middle school kids in the choir. So if you're available on May the 29th, 3:45 in the afternoon.
Will there be room for all of them to stay on the concrete?
Oh, there's acres, Roger.
On concrete?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Sure. Okay. The next special council meeting that we'll have will be on May the 31st at 7 p.m. So that will be the next council meeting. All right?
Hey, Mayor, I had some video I was going to show you, but I normally don't use this. I use my laptop, but I'll kind of play it like this so you guys can see. But this is of the...
Roger, can you close that line behind you?
Yeah. This is the parking over at the ball fields. You can see all of the cars that were there, how busy it was. You're right, there wasn't a seat in the house. So all the fields. This was this mid-afternoon, something like that, about 1:30 today. So it'd be a little more impressive if you could see it on the TV, but maybe next time. But I want to show you that the facility looks phenomenal today. So.
Yeah, great showpiece for Vienna.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Henry?
I got a question. With the ball fields and stuff, has the city ever considered putting a flashing yellow light or something?
There's a project right now that the state's been working with us. Chief Pfeiffer would have a better update on that than I am, but yes, Chief, you want to update that on that traffic?
Because during school, when the kids get out and people go out there, it's real congested and the cars on, Rosemar fly. So if you're pulling out, it's tough, and especially when people got, activities going on, it makes it kind of tough.
We met, myself, Chief Scholl was there, Lieutenant Parrish all met with the DOH division. Went all the way from Emerson and Rosemar all the way through to 14. Did some suggestions. I think they're going to do some major upgrades to Rosemar Road here in the very near future. From what they've set some money aside.
Okay.
So they talked about some turning lanes, maybe even some speed limit changes. I know they're cutting trees, lighting type stuff. So I think you're going to see some changes real soon.
All right. Anything else? Meeting adjourned.
Summers, he said,